when you go on social media, you go on everywhere in the internet, you get to hear people talking about studying smart, studying smart, studying smart. And I currently feel studying smart is overhyped, especially when people don't tend to know the basics or what it actually means to study smart, right? Now, studying smart, I made a post about it on social media. Studying smart comes from hard work. That means you have to study hard before you can be able to study smart, because studying smart is gotten or is a substituent of working hard. But when you work hard, you tend to gain clarity, and gaining clarity will help you not just to continue working hard, rather it will releases your workload and help you study smarter. And I want to tell you some of those truths that is involved when it comes to studying smart. Now, when you talk about studying smart, a lot of people feel studying smart is not just spending hours studying. It is something you just spend 30 minutes studying. No, you cannot compare yourself when you study for 30 minutes with someone that has put in the energy studying for 2 hours. It is evident. You understand? This is the rule of life. You understand? It's not something you can say you can beat me. You cannot outperform me if I spend 2 hours studying and you are studying for just 30 minutes, no matter the techniques you are reading. You understand? So studying smart is not just about studying less, you understand, but maximizing the time you use in your studies. You understand? Maximizing the time, or maximizing the time and the minutes or everything you use in your studies. Because a lot of people, like I said, just feel studying smart is studying for 30 minutes daily. No, it is all about maximizing. Now, like I said, some people can study for 30 minutes and still understand everything. Some people can study for 2 hours and still understand everything. Some people can also study for 2 hours and still not understand anything they have read. And some people can still study for 30 minutes and still not understand everything they have read. So it's a vice versa stuff. You understand? So when it comes to studying smart, is simply maximizing the time you spend in your studies. You understand? So that is what studying smart really means. It's maximizing, understand, being able to fully enjoy that time, being able to fully understand what you are reading at that particular point in time. That is the basis or the foundation of studying smart. Also, when it comes to studying smart, there's something that is known as the active recall. You understand? There's something that is known as the active recall. Now, active recall is gotten from study techniques that I've been talking about, but I will not talk about others because others are good. But when it comes to this particular aspect of busting that bubbles or busting that might when it comes to studying smart, the first one, or what I will really project, is the active recall, right? So the active recall is even better than spaced repetition. Active recall is better than review. Take it from me. Active recall is better than review. You understand? Active recall is simply when you study, you close your book and see how you can be able to get that stuff you have read. This is because the brain, whenever you read, the brain stores the information in the short-term memory, right? The brain stores the information in the short-term memory. Now, some people read and close the book and go, right? The information is then in the short-term memory. Then after some time, the brain feels this information is no longer necessary, and what the brain does is the brain needs to get the information, right? So the brain will just simply transfer that information, or will just clean away that information, wipe it out, right? And you won't be able to recall it. But when you do the active recall, that when you finish reading, the moment you finish reading, you close that book and see how you can be able to remember what you have read. It will immediately tell the brain that, bro, look at what this guy is doing. This guy is trying to tell us that this information is really necessary. That is why he's trying to review it, or he's trying to piece himself on it, right? So the brain will automatically follows what you are telling it to transfer this information from the short-term memory directly to the long-term memory. Also, when it comes to studying smart, there's also a study technique that's known as the Pomodoro technique. Now, actually, the Pomodoro technique works, right? Which is studying in short focus blocks. Let's say you want to study for 15 minutes, let's say you want to study for 1 hour, this is 60 minutes, right? So you study for 15 minutes, have a 10-minute break. I've always been talking about this. But it is not just about you study for 15 minutes, having a 10-minute break. You understand? It is not just about you having that break. It's not just about you studying. Are you really understanding that stuff you are studying for 15 minutes? You understand? Because if you don't understand what you are studying for that 15 minutes, the moment you try to have that 10-minute break, you automatically forget everything. You understand? If you don't understand that stuff you are studying for 15 minutes, not that 15 minutes you are studying, one hand is on phone, you are trying to browse the internet and you are still studying, and later on again you still have a 10-minute break. It doesn't work that way. You understand? If you want to study for 15 minutes, I think you have to give it your all and all. You understand? There should be nothing that will distract you at that particular time until time comes for the Pomodoro, which is the 10-minute break. So some people deceive themselves they are reading, one hand they are also pressing their phone, and later on they will still say I'm on Pomodoro 10-minute break. No, you still not get what you are reading. You understand? So Pomodoro works, but it works when you cut off every distraction. You understand? That is one thing about it. Pomodoro works when you cut off every distraction. And also, you have to set visual reminders. You understand? You have to be able to set visual reminders whenever you want to study. Write down your study timetable, and don't just write it down and put in your notebook. Because when you write it down, put in your notebook, you may not be able to remember the exact notebook you wrote it down. So whenever you prepare your study plan, maybe you can paste it on the wall or paste it on your study table, so that whenever you just see it, you tend to get a reminder of when you are about to or when you are supposed to start studying. And one thing about smart study, which I am going to try to end it around there, is that smart studying actually starts before you study, right? Smart studying starts before you study. That means before you start sitting down to tell yourself that I want to do smart studying, it starts before that time. It starts when you are planning to go and start studying. That is when studying starts, if you are trying to implement the smart and the active studying. You understand? So the smart studying involves simply knowing your syllabus. You understand? Before you start studying, you must know your syllabus. You must know what is required of you in that particular subject. You must know the topics that you are supposed to focus on. You are supposed to also know the exam format. Is this exam going to be objective? Is it going to be MCQs? Is it going to be theory? Is it going to be computer based and stuff like that? You must know your exam format, and you must also know the high yield topics. Because if you check your textbooks, right, you get to find out that there are a lot of topics in that textbook. But the thing is, when you get acquainted with the past questions, you get to find out that there are some topics that recur every year. You understand? These are known as the high yield topics, especially those that wrote JAMB. I've made videos on this, right? High yield topics, right? There are some topics that tend to repeat every year. These are things that you're supposed to do if actually you want to start studying smart and not just studying hard. You understand? So studying smart is not just a title, or it's not just an overhyped stuff that you're supposed to follow the crowd and start doing, right? You just say I'm studying smart, right? Because when you follow the crowd, there's every tendency that you get lost. So instead of just following the crowd, then I believe you are supposed to follow up everything I've said in this video. Like I've said, studying smart starts before you study. That's by knowing your syllabus, knowing your high yield topics, knowing the exam format and stuff like that, and also knowing that Pomodoro works, but it works when you cut off distraction, and also imbibing the active recall, which is after studying you close your book and seeing how you can be able to remember everything you have studied. Drop in the comment section which of these tips you are going to try right away, and what are the tips you have been using whenever you want to study that has been really helpful to increase your grade in school, either as a Sunday school student or as a university student? I believe a lot of people who are watching this video will be glad to learn from you. And if you love this video and you wish to continue watching educative and helpful videos like this, please don't forget to hit on the red subscribe button, and also share this video to your friends so that they can come here and get value. And in turn, I'll feel motivated to continue dropping videos like this. And until I see you in my next video, always remember that you're wonderful, always remember that you're unique, and always remember that you're a setter. I really love you. Thank you.